Once again, Buffdo Campo here with my Mercury Zephyr Z7. I started calling it Z7 in like all the other English-speaking countries, but people don't like it. I don't know why. So anyway, it's a Zephyr Z7. We have the instrument panel out because we're putting a heater core in it, which is a big job. But while we got that out, we've got this is the cover for the steering column. So this is where the key goes, where you turn the key to start it. But this thing is really faded. I mean, this is the color it's supposed to be, like on the bottom. But it's all right on this side where it comes in on the driver's side. It's faded really bad. I went and got some paint matched to this, and the guy took a fingerful of the paint, smeared it right there. It matches so well, you can't see it. So I guess it's the right color. So I'm going to shoot some, I sanded it with Scotch-Brites. Got it under some hot soapy water, scratched it all up with these. And I didn't show you that, but that's because I did it in the bathroom. This is the paint that I got, and I've used this stuff before. It's a Behr outdoor high gloss paint for like for homes. But it dries quickly. It's meant to be outside, so it doesn't fade. It's pretty good stuff. So I know it adheres well to this primer sealer. I don't really need a sealer on this because, you know, normally sealers use like over steel, so it doesn't rust. But I know this adheres well, so I'm gonna shoot some of this on these parts, and it only needs a light coat.
I'm doing B-roll of the disassembled dash and the steering column without the cover.
So I'm going to try to do this and not shoot Kim in the face with the primer. So let's see what happens here.
Where would a long blonde hair come from in this shot?
Yes. Okay, reset. Thankfully, this is not a smooth surface like a fender or a top of a car or a door or something. It's got a textured surface. So when I wiped it off like that, I don't think it made any difference. But I got this long hair out of it.
Could we maybe not spray paint in front of the computer like that?
Kim's concerned about the computer and the dust getting in there. This paint, I think it's a lacquer base, but I'm not sure. I know that when you shoot it, like if it's up high, something up high, by the time it gets to the ground, it's dry because I'm able to sweep up the dust. It isn't sticky by the time it gets down there. Although you probably still don't want the dust in the computer. So I'm going to shoot just a little bit more on this piece. I just want it dusted on there enough that the paint that I'm going to put on there adheres, because I don't know if it'll adhere to this plastic, but I know this stuff will. It's got a little coat of primer on it. I'm going to let that dry real well, and then I'll put the color on there that it's supposed to be, that's matched to the interior of the car. Right there, that's the mix. Right there. So if I need this again, I want to make sure I have this. I took a picture of the top of this can lid so that I can have the same color mixed up again without taking a part of the car and then going down there. And this stuff's thick. I don't know how this is going to work out on this. I'm going to try the bottom first. Normally I'd spray something like this, but it's textured already. And if I'm going to spray this, I gotta thin it, and it takes several coats. When you thin this paint with water, it takes a lot of coats, and I don't really want to do that.
That looks better already.
And this is a textured surface, so I don't think the brush marks will show, or if they do, it'll kind of fade in with the textured surface. A lot of people that work on cars never think of using house paint, because traditionally you don't use house paint on cars. You go buy some really expensive interior paint, and what I found is exterior house paint will hold up so well. I mean, it's made to be in weather for 20 years, you know. And to be in a steering column, let's say, it's basically going to be inside the car, and it'd probably be okay. And if it fades, I'll do it again.
You think it'll peel off?
Oh, I don't think it'll peel off, and that's because I painted this paint over this kind of primer before. I've never had it peel off that stuff, so I'm not really worried about it. I think what's the worst thing that can happen? I got to do it again? I think it's going to be fine. Texture shows up real well, so even though I'm brushing it, I got a gob in there. Even though I'm brushing it, the brush marks aren't really showing. How's it look?
It looks like a steering column with house paint on it.
Oh, come on. With house paint on it? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I mean, I don't know. It looks fine. It looks way better than it did all faded and yellowed and round. Like, yeah, it was hideous before. So I think this is an improvement.
And then, I haven't really said anything about this. I want to build a little console that kind of, right now there's an armrest that folds down, but if I left that armrest folded up, I could build a console that kind of goes over be in front of the seat and then over the top of the seat. And I could put a thing in there with cup holders and a lid, a place to put stuff, kind of like a glove compartment. I'll get right back to my story in a second. I built that console. I could paint it with this paint. It'll match the interior. I think that'll look pretty good. And I would like to do that. So I could have some cup holders and a little place to put things and maybe a place for the CB radio or whatever that I put in that console. And this would be a perfect color for it. It's the same color as everything else in the interior. This was the piece that was really faded. I want to look at the camera and talk to everybody, but I don't want the paint to go all over my hand on the desk or whatever else. So I got to look at what I'm doing a little bit.
I gave him a hard time about looking down when he's talking.
Kim's always on me about not looking at the camera. You got to look at people while you're talking to them. Well, I'm a mechanic and I look at things that I'm working on. So I try to retrain myself to look away while I'm working on stuff. And it's, I can do it sometimes. And of course, my left hand shakes a little bit. So, but tonight it isn't real bad. Sometimes it shakes really badly. Sometimes it doesn't, but I've go to the doctor and they're working with it. So I don't know. Some people might have this little shakiness. If you're soldering, one hand is on the solder and one hand's on the soldering pen. And if I'm doing a circuit board, that end of that solder just won't do what I want it to. So what I've learned to do is put a little dab of solder on the soldering pen and then go right in there, and I've been pretty successful with that. Can't believe I'm brush painting a part in the car, but you know what? It's textured, so I think it looks pretty good.
It looks better than it did.
Look at that. It's the right color. It's painted. I think it's only going to take one coat. There's a little brush marky business right there. I don't know. I'm actually pretty happy with that. So now, the hard part, cleaning up the brush. This is water-soluble paint, so I'll take that to the house and do it in the sink. I've got to get this off here, so I'm going to mess the brush all up. See, there's that shaky business right there. The end of that thing, it really amplifies it. Seal up this with a handy hammer I don't have. I guess we'll get that after we're finished. I'll tap this down. I think it was $19 for this. So I'll do this. And there's some other interior parts that have the same problem. And then when I do the console, I mean, for 19 bucks, you just take a part in and they'll match it. And I've always had good luck with that.
Is that gloss or not gloss?
This one is gloss. Yeah, you can get it gloss. You can get it what they call eggshell. I don't know if I should have gotten gloss. I don't know. We'll see how it looks. Gloss, flat, eggshell. I forget the other. I think there's 5 different graduations. Matte. Okay. There's 5 different graduations, I think, of what you can get. And this one, I did get gloss. Don't know why I did that, but I did.
Well, gloss, I think, is usually the most durable.
And that could be it, too. I'll tell you one thing. Yeah, gloss. If you get something on here, you can wipe it off a lot easier than you can with flat. But I remember doing houses, interior houses, and I always used eggshell, and it always worked out real well. But it was, you get somebody spill something on it, it's a little harder to clean. So this is one of the last things that goes back in when we put the dash back in. Kim already got the heater box back in, and the heater's in there. The heater box is in there. I connected up the air conditioning lines. So we're part way there. But we'll get the rest of the dashboard in there, and then we'll assemble this, and that'll be a day or two from now. And we might do that live. I don't know. And maybe this car will be ready to drive at some point. And I'm going to enjoy that. Man, I'll have a car with a heater and springs here. Just in time for the warmer weather. But that's okay. That's okay. I didn't drive it all winter. But next winter I'll be enjoying it. Are you done? Or you want me to say more?
I don't know. You have to tell me. I'm just recording.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay.
I thought that was the wrap up right there.
That was pretty good.
So the screws are out of it. So take it apart. Oh, I thought it was already apart. Here's the hair. Got to be kidding me.